stories this evening.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Premier Health Insurance, Calipo, and Nido Fortigro. Your love, their future. National Disaster Management Organization mounts search for smuggled contaminated tilapia being processed into salted fish in communities along the Volta River.
Military personnel take over Japekrom and Drobo townships following clashes in the area.
Ahead in business, Tema Oil Refinery takes delivery of 1 million barrels of crude oil to refine.
And in sports tonight, Ghana pulls out of 2018-2019 CAF Champions League and CAF Confederations Cup.
And on the international front this evening, more than 50 people killed after a train ran into a crowd near Amritsar in India. Stay with us here on News 360 for the details of these stories and much more news. You can watch us on DSTV channel 279 and on 3news.com.
Absolutely, and I'll go on to our first story this evening, where the National Disaster Management Organization, that's NADMO, will within 24 hours embark on a surveillance to confiscate and destroy tilapia processed into salted fish in communities along the Volta River in the Shai Osudoku district of the Greater Accra region. This is after some fishmongers smuggled unwholesome tilapia onto the market.
Chinese Fujian has already lost 6 tons of tilapia since Sunday. The cause of the mass death of the tilapia has not been established yet, but owners of the company suspect fish poisoning. 3 Kia trucks of the unwholesome tilapia were buried Friday morning after officials of the company drove the media away. Our checks show the initial method of disposal of the tilapia was not the best, and so market women in nearby communities who throng the area could easily smuggle and process the rotten tilapia into salted fish for public consumption. We also gathered some fishmongers had earlier massed up to collect the decaying tilapia for sale. This woman, for instance, was turned away by the National Disaster Management Organization NADMO officials after pleading to be given some of the unwholesome tilapia to process. Other fishmongers who had earlier collected some of the contaminated fish fled with their canoes after they spotted NADMO officials approaching. Concerned residents say fishmongers have been feeding the public with unwholesome salted fish since the Chinese Fujian farms was plagued with mass tilapia deaths. NADMO director for Lower Manya Krobo, who was at the burial ground to assess the situation, said the attitude of the fishmongers was alarming.
We saw it for ourselves how the indigenes have been coming for the fish and then sneak it out to the nearby villages, which I think is a major threat.
He also outlined a 24-hour surveillance to prevent further sale of the unwholesome tilapia to communities along the Volta River.
Kobe, it takes about a week or more for the processes to end. So I'm sure when we enter the villages, those that are in the process of being finished or dried, we can be able to seize all those ones and then we take it away. Because I believe when it is not only the communities here that will be consuming that fish, it will be taken far.
Officials from the Food and Drugs Authority who later joined NADMO officials did not comment on the issue. Management of the Chinese Fujian also declined to speak to the media. The Chinese Fujian Farms is the largest producer of tilapia in the Shai Osudoku district.
This is a serious public health alert there, and already we're told more than 30 trucks of dead tilapia have been disposed of, while more are reported to be dying. It's a continuous situation. Dr. Francis Amavenko is the head of Fisheries and Aquaculture Division at the Center for Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, Water Research Institute, and Nana Asante Boateng is the District Director of the Shai Osudoku NADMO office. They join me in studio for this discussion. Good evening to you, gentlemen, and thank you very much for your time this evening. But let me start off with you, Mr. Boateng. When did you hear of this particular incident?
That was Sunday around 4:30 that we have the land that there's a tilapia dead outbreak, and so quickly we drove to the scene and see what is going on there.
Sunday?
Yeah, that was Sunday.
So from Sunday till today, Friday, what have you been doing?
Actually, we visit the scene to make sure we put measures in place that the tilapia doesn't get out from there to the market for consuming. And so we've actually invited the agencies, the appropriate agencies, to come so that we make sure that the tilapia doesn't move from the market, from the pond to the market.
Well, so, I'm asking this because, just as you said, we got wind of this information just about a week ago. And if it's just yesterday and today, we are hearing that NADMO officials moved to the site. And between Sunday and now, market women have been smuggling this out of the place. So if you arrived there on Sunday, I'm wondering what measures you really put in place then.
Actually, what I'm hearing that market women have actually gone in for the tilapia to the market. It is not true. Saying from Sunday and Monday, my men are on the ground, and then we make sure those videos that is working in social media was the women that we went and caught them in action, taking the fish, and so we arrested.
So there's a probability that some of these fishmongers arrived there before Sunday, meaning that some of them took the fish before Sunday.
The problem is, those guys working with the company, they normally try to smuggle some of the fishes out to those market women, and so
the workers of the company,
the workers of the company,
are the ones who are smuggling the fish.
That's right. So when they were asked to bring out the fish from the pond to where exactly we're going to bury it, that is what happened. And so quickly, we actually after we saw that that's what the people are doing with the market women, we actually policing all the places and make sure that we retrieve all those ones that are going out from the women.
But then, if this was Sunday, how are we now hearing the public alert between yesterday and today? Because had it not been for this video you're talking about, which you're disputing, it going viral on social media, I don't think there was any information from NADMO or FDA for that matter until today. Am I wrong?
No, you see, the point is, when
you've known about this from Sunday.
Yes, from Sunday we were taking measures.
So why didn't you tell us? We could have even helped you to announce to the public that look out for this. Beware of the tilapia you are consuming.
Yes,
but we hear.
No, you see. Let me draw your attention this way. The tilapia that is talking about, it is not poison tilapia.
What is it?
The problem with the tilapia is it is because of the rain, and then the volume of the water that they are experiencing now. That is the problem. But what we hear in social media that they've polluted the water, they've poisoned the water body, it is not true. Because I visit almost all the farms along that place. It is only Fujian that is having problem. And the reason why Fujian is having the problem is Fujian have overcrowded his pond, and there's no space for the fishes to breathe. Normally with these fish that they are breeding, it have to be the temperature of the water have to be from 26 to 25. That is the maximum. But now what they are experiencing now, it's almost about 29.
I see. So are you saying that the fishes with the tilapia we're saying dead there are not poisonous?
No, they are not poisonous.
But Dr. Mavenku, you're conducting testing on samples of the tilapia and the water. But I'm hearing a conclusive statement from NADMO that it is not poisonous fish. So what are you researching?
Yeah, whilst I will not rule out sabotage, I will also say that there are environmental conditions that can cause this. For instance, the fish in water depend heavily on dissolved oxygen. And if for one reason or the other, the dissolved oxygen content goes below the required level, they begin to die, to suffocate. And the first sign of suffocation is that you see them gulping at the surface of the water. You see them gulping for air. So if you have a pond and by 11 o'clock midday, getting to 12 o'clock and you still see your fish coming to the surface, it's a very unhealthy situation which you must take action to arrest. Now, what could have happened if they were not poisoned? Is that
you see, and that's why I have a problem, because for you, Doc, you are being cautiously optimistic in your analysis of the fact that it may not be poison. You're not making a conclusive statement.
No,
okay? You're making a conditional statement of if. But NADMO is saying the situation is not as a result of poisoning. And that's why I have a problem.
Well,
because you can't make a conclusive statement like that when research is going on to establish the real cause of death. Sure. Am I right?
Yeah. You're right.
So I can't take it.
You see, the reason why I am coming out with that is there are ponds closer to that fish farm, and they are not experiencing exactly what the statement is out. Yes, not the situation at hand. Even beside that, when you move to the next pond, those fishes are all doing well. Okay.
No, is that not rather a reason to now begin to zoom in into this Chinese one and begin to ask questions
exactly.
of what's happening?
And that is what I said. That
and that's why I would rather we desist from making a conclusive statement that it is not poisonous fish.
And that's what I'm saying. That we have taken samples to the lab. We've taken samples to Standard Board for result. So with all this thing, we're waiting for the results to also come out.
I would rather you stick and wait for the results than saying that the fish didn't die as a result of poison. We cannot say anything conclusively now.
For sure.
So let's just clarify that so that the viewers already there's some panic.
Yes.
Okay. So
the reason why I am actually saying that because some of the fish still on the pond where the fish are doing well.
I see.
Yes, in Fujian company where we have this all this video that you're watching. There are some of the ponds there. The fish are doing well in the same water.
I see.
And so if they're saying that it's poison, where from the poison substance, and all those fishes are not dead. So but for now, we are still waiting for the result to come to conclusion.
So Doc, how long will it take to establish the cause of death that you're doing?
Well, the analysis is ongoing under the lab. And one other thing I will have to say is when fish get poisoned, you see their eyes gapping out. You see, it's an indication that there is some poison. I do not know what kind of poison was used, if it was. But if you see poisoned fish, it's obvious. You begin to see that the eyes come out. Yeah, that is one sure sign.
You see the color change.
Okay, so what should viewers look out for? I mean, it's going to be difficult because now it's either smoked or fried or grilled if it is indeed on the market. So what are some of the things the viewers should look out for? Or should we just desist from eating tilapia while all of this goes on?
I don't think that you can eat them. The signs will not be visible if it is processed. For example, the gulping eyes, if it's placed on fire, I mean, because of water content, the moisture level, you wouldn't see it visibly. Then the other thing is, if it is poison, it deteriorates fast. The rate at which the flesh deteriorates is very fast. So in that case, you see that parts, it gets torn apart into pieces. And
so what's the best thing to do now? A general advice to the public.
Cautious. We have to be cautious and examine. You shouldn't be too panicky about the
So what should we do? In being cautious, what should we do?
You look out for fish that is quite fresh. If you want to take fresh fish, you look out for fish that is quite fresh. If fish dies within a short time, it begins to deteriorate. So if you're going in, I don't expect that by now you should be getting fresh fish from the source.
Right. So what's the situation at the burial site now? Because we understand some of the women were able to go there and take some of the fish away. Do you have personnel there guarding the place to ensure this doesn't happen again?
Exactly what we did. At least there are personnel, there are policemen, there are NADBO staffs around, and after burial we pour the chemical, this lime chemical. You know, even the depth of the depth of the hole that we dig is almost about 3 meters deep down before we bury it, and then pour lime on it. And when even you see one outside, I mean, you cannot even make any use of it. And so that's what we did when we.
So in the next week, we should expect some response from you.
Sure.
Great. Thank you for your time this evening. It's worth it that you make it here. Nana Asante Boateng is the District Director, Shayo Sudoku Nadmo, and Dr. Francis Amevenko is the Head of Fisheries and Aquaculture Division, CSIR Water Research Institute, joining us. This is a developing story, and so we'll stay on it as we go on the bulletin and our subsequent bulletins as well here on TV3. But away from that, the Ghana Armed Forces have taken over Japekrom and Drobo townships after 2 persons of Japekrom were allegedly killed by some armed men of Drobo during the celebration of their 400th yearly Monifi that's Monofie Festival. 21 others who sustained varying degrees of injury, that's according to some gunshot wounds, are responding to treatment. Here's a report by Johnson Tichi.
The two, a beef seller, Kwame Ma, 16, was stabbed in the neck to death, whilst the other, a Mertiahene of Japekrom Traditional Council, Nana Atasina, 51, was shot dead. Eyewitnesses say all these happened around 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday. The two bodies have been deposited at St. Mary's Hospital morgue in Drobo for postmortem. The Brongahafo Rexec has beefed up security with 21 military and 25 police personnel to ensure law and order is restored, while a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. curfew is underway. Several government agencies together with schools have been shut following the incident. The Omahene of the Imposuman Traditional Council, Oketechi Amwa Etru Nkonkonchia, was worried about the turn of event.
My expectation is that the law enforcement agencies will do all within their power to make sure they will bring to book these criminals. And I call them criminals, and they are not men. That means they are just not men, because a man will have to face his fellow man with a gun. You don't go and spray bullets on harmless little kids and women and elderly.
The municipal chief executive of German South, Alhaji Abu, however, blames the two traditional chiefs and their subjects.
With Japekrom, as part of their activities, they went to Mposu, and then when they were coming back, they had some men who had been organized, and then Drobo opposed, and this issue came before the RESEC, and then it was disbanded that they shouldn't do the procession. The police were at the beginning around, but the numbers were too much, and so I believe that they couldn't control them. Over 300 people, so the police were the number was very minimal.
One of the eyewitnesses, Kweku Anthony, said he could identify the perpetrators. The public relations officer of the Brongahafo Regional Police Command, Chief Superintendent Augustine Kingsley Opon, assured of calm.
In fact, coming around, we have gotten to know that how people were heightening the situation here is not like that. Though there are some panics in the people, and when we're coming, we decided to chat with the people around. And what they were saying was that, in fact, they are so happy with the military presence and the police. And for that matter, we have realized the situation is calm.
The Brongahafo Regional Police Commander, DCOP Owusu Boatin, and his men visited victims at the St. Mary's Hospital.
We'll bring you more on that development in subsequent bulletins, and on to some other news this evening. Now, the prospect of a clean Accra is not impossible. However, the chances of seeing Accra as the cleanest city in Africa just may be a mirage, if not wishful thinking. A visit to the biggest food market in the city, Abugloshi, exposes the threat that filth poses to patrons. Peter Kwadato reports that the streets in the market, as well as the lorry park, have been turned into waste dumping grounds.
President Akufo-Addo last year made a declaration to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. This was his response to the unanswered questions on the growing concern over waste in the city. The president went ahead to create a dedicated ministry to tackle sanitation and water. But government strategy in fighting the menace appears to be scoring low marks in meeting the target. Nearly 2 years on, very little change is visible. This is Agbogboshi, the biggest food market in the capital, Accra. All manner of food items, perishable and non-perishable, are on sale here. These activities undoubtedly result in huge tons of waste every day. However, there's only one waste container available to the entire market. The single container is usually not lifted regularly, we were told. Additionally, waste contractors contracted to keep the area clean are also not always readily available. As a result, there is widespread indiscriminate dumping of waste around the market, the lorry park, and in the gutters. We
pay daily for the tidying up of the market, but we end up doing the cleaning ourselves. We also pay waste collectors to dispose of the garbage. Because the traders don't want to pay and dump refuse in the designated container, they end up littering the market.
Almost every available space is littered with waste, and traders, including cooked food vendors, continue to do business close to the waste full of flies.
Those tasked to clean this market do not do their work, yet they continue to collect daily waste, collecting fee from us. We need waste containers here to help arrest the situation. If the waste contractors are made to do their work effectively, these challenges will be reduced. We are aware of the dangers, but we have no choice. Our best is not enough to resolve the difficulty.
Experts say it takes more than just creating a ministry or an agency to achieve the desired results. And if Accra will be cleaner, then a lot more must be done to change attitude and behaviors.
An MTN video report today, our citizen journalist Solomon Hosu reports on the uncompleted project in the Anklong Afiadenjimba Senior High School in the Keta municipality in the Volta region.
This project is a senior housemaster's bungalow and a boys' dormitory that has been under construction since 2016. The woods on the roof, on the wall are all decaying. And now, the new admission that we are receiving now, we are lacking boys' dormitory as well as classrooms. And that has made it that the classroom block that has been constructed for the school, 6-unit classroom block, under the previous government has been converted to boys' dorm. Meanwhile, as I speak now, we are in need of classrooms. So we are appealing to the authorities to come to our aid. My name is Solomon Hosu, speaking from Angola Fiangba Secondary School.
You can also join in Salem and letting us know what's happening in your community. WhatsApp number is 055-1433044. That's 055-1433044. Here on NEWS360, we're getting to business after this, where Tema Refinery takes delivery of 1 million barrels of crude oil to refine. Stay with us. Hello and welcome to the Business Report on NEWS360. My name is Parkwisi Asare. Let's begin with happenings in Tema, where the Tema Oil Refinery has taken delivery of 1 million barrels of crude oil to refine. Media general checks have revealed the consignments were secured from British Petroleum, who are their first suppliers. The vessel, British Heritage, carrying the consignment, has docked at the anchorage of the Tema port. By close of day, the refinery will lift the products to the oil jetty, where it will be channeled to the TOR pipelines. Sources say the product will last for a month, after which the contract with BP will be extended. Since June, TOR was forced to shut down 2 of its plants for the refinery due to the inability to secure crude oil. The development led to job cuts. In other news, the Trades Union Congress has called on government to immediately release a snitch report which indicted the former management for misappropriation and misapplication of funds. Secretary General Dr. Yalba is disturbed the delay is generating simmering tensions among unions which could reduce their contributions for the scheme. Dr. Yalba spoke exclusively to our labor correspondent, Daniel Opoku.
The Secretary General highlighted the snitch saga in the TUC's 2019 budget proposal to government. He recalled the setting up of an investigation team in 2017 to audit and verify the operations of SNAIT. The team identified some misapplication of funds and over-bloated contracts which angered the TUC. Almost a year on, the report has not been made public and the TUC has described it as unfair. Dr. Yalba called on government to immediately release the report for smooth industrial cooperation.
Especially when the board chairman said he will bring the report to the public to see. We are expecting that to happen, and we are asking government to do that. Because you cannot come to the public to say that I'm going to give you a report and you don't. So we are expecting that government should make it public.
How soon are you expecting that?
I don't know how soon, but as soon as possible. They have to make it public. We have also, in our previous submissions, called for stakeholder consultations.
Exactly.
You can bring all the stakeholders together and say, this is the review, this is the report, and we think that together we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things.
In the 2009 budget proposal, the TUC again asked government to extend the pension coverage to those in the informal sector. Available figures indicate more than 80% of businesses in the country are in the informal sector, but workers in the sector have no access to pensions after they retire. This, he said, the government must take steps in enrolling them.
We also need pension schemes for traders. We need pension schemes for other workers in both formal and informal economy. So that's what we are calling for specifically in this submission. So we expect that 2019, yes, we have to see concrete steps towards extending pension coverage to informal economy workers.
Again, the Trades Union Congress called for implementation of daily minimum wage to raise the mega earnings of workers.
Since 2013, real earnings are going down. In the public service, we have always got an increase which is below inflation. And if consistently you do that for 5 years, no wonder we are not able to grow at the rate we want to grow. We need to improve purchasing power somehow to get our economy moving in the right direction.
TUC has since implored the government to consider increasing wages of public sector workers.
Deputy Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Paul Ababio, has revealed the SEC will from next year roll out educational drives to guide Ghanaian investors. He's hopeful this will inform them about the operations of the markets and influence better decision-making.
Maiden edition of the MG Economic Dialogue series brought together some experts from the financial sector, analysts and stakeholders within the banking sector. Under the theme Investments in the Face of Ponzi Schemes, How Do We Clean the Mess? Speakers tackled the core history of the emergence of Ponzi schemes and how to rid Ghana of such schemes.
We'll be engaging more with the public. We have done such educational drives in the past, so this is not a new phenomenon, but I think the point that's been made is the mode. For instance, the kind of collateral we'll be creating. We'll be looking at that.
He highlighted the need for a more informed investment market.
We can't stop you from making certain decisions. We are a free economy. We actually allow for businesses to operate. So it's important to be conscious of the risks you're taking, to request for information to guide your decision.
He said the SEC will engage more with the public and publish its reports on financial investigations in an accessible manner.
You're still watching the business report on NEWS360. The managers of the Ghana Stock Exchange have given 3 non-performing companies till the end of December this year to improve their operations or get delisted from the exchange. The managing director of the Stock Exchange, Kofi Yamwa, said the decision has been necessitated by the inability of these companies to improve their operations despite several warnings.
The managing director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, on the sidelines of facts behind the figures, organized by the exchange for listed companies, indicated the affected companies are Cocoa Processing Company, Aluwex, and Pioneer Kitchenware. He explained getting non-performing companies off the market would boost trading activities and give other listed companies value for money. He indicated that if the financials of Pioneer Kitchenware does not improve by December, it would be delisted.
We have announced information from Aluwex indicating that they are in firm discussions with an existing significant shareholder to inject new capital, i.e. to sell new shares to them, and hopefully that will correct the working capital difficulties that they've had for so long. And if that happens successfully, then obviously the company will be taken off the watch list.
Taking its stand at the media briefing, Enterprise Group reported that the company in 2017 reported a total net income of 543 million cedis, having a total asset worth 1 billion cedis. The CEO, Kelly Gajekpo, indicated that the company is almost through with its plans to expand the life insurance business into the Nigerian market.
It's positive. Unfortunately, the market tends to view insurance as a thing which is nice to have. On that basis, whenever there's a tightening of the disposable incomes, we see that people run away from insurance. But fortunately, we're looking at a positive outcome. Our GDP growth rates are trending well. So we expect that eventually we'll also get a fair slice of that cake.
The Ghana Stock Exchange in December 2017 put up the 3 distressed companies for possible delisting if their financials did not improve by the end of May 2018. However, the period have been extended to December 2018.
That's all for the very latest in the world of business. For more business news stories, log on to our website, www.3news.com. My name is Pakwesi Asare. Over to you, Alfred. Thank you, Pakwesi, with business. Now, let's go on to the presidency, where President Akufo-Addo says government is in the process of securing funding to begin the construction of a new Army headquarters by the end of the year. Addressing the 2018 Ghana Military Academy graduation parade at the Teshi in Accra, the president promised to bequeath to the Army a state-of-the-art training facility as a legacy before he leaves office.
A total of 138 officers graduated and were commissioned to begin their careers in the Ghana Armed Forces after a year's training at the Ghana Military Academy at Teshi in Accra. 74 of the officers graduated from the regular career course 58, Army Division, 23 graduate from the Short Service Commission, 10 officers from the Navy and 12 from the Air Force. President Akufo-Addo assured the gallant men and women of his resolve to improve their infrastructure needs to enhance their efficiency.
The institution, since its establishment in 1960, has not witnessed any significant development in its infrastructure. The local training area for the officer cadets has been encroached upon. That is why I've directed the Minister for Defense to take steps to wall off the remaining lands. Plans have also been put in place for the building of new state-of-the-art infrastructure to meet the requirements of a 21st century training institution. This is a legacy I would want to bequeath to the Ghana Armed Forces.
He charged the officers to lead exemplary lives and be dedicated to the service.
I'm reminding you today that your commission into the armed forces places great responsibility on you to guard against the temptation of using the uniform to intimidate your civilian counterparts, who are your natural partners in the development of our nation and whose taxes provide the means for your sustenance as members of the armed forces.
Some outstanding officers were awarded for their sterling performances during training. The Sword of Honor, the best all-round officer cadet in the regular career course, was awarded to Senior Under Officer Daniel Opoku Buedu.
Senior Under Officer Opoku Daniel Buedu was born on 31st.
Stay with us here on News 360 for the latest of sports news, coming up with Nana Kojofre.
Good evening. Welcome back to News 360 here on TV3. My name is Anako Jafre with the sport update. The details now. Ghana won't be represented in the 2018-19 CAF Champions League and Confederations Cup, according to the Normalization Committee of the Ghana Football Association. The GFA Normalization Committee and the Ghana Premier League clubs have unanimously agreed for the country not to have a representative in the next edition of CAF's inter-club competitions, the Champions League and the Confederations Cup. The two parties took the decision at the Alisa Hotel this afternoon in their maiden meeting since the Normalization Committee was constituted on September 13, 2018. Ghana joins a number of countries to be absent from from appearing at next season's competitions. And now we build up to the 2018 Africa Women's Championship, and my colleague Eneke Amankwa has been finding out how the floodlight situation is at the Accra Sports Stadium as Ghana prepares to host the 8-team tournament for the Women's AFCON from November 17 to December 1.
Evening matches wouldn't be a problem here at the Accra Sports Stadium again. As you can see, all the floodlights are back to its shape and it is on for the AFCON 2018. This renovation work started some months ago, but today everything looked perfect, or 80% done for the AFCON 2018, according to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And the LOC says they are ready for the tournament, which is supposed to come on next month, 17 to December 1st. A visit to the venue by TV3 Sports on Wednesday night saw improvement on the pitch and the facility with less than a month to go. Due to the time constraint for the Women AFCON, the surface of the pitch was only removed in order to replant and reshape the grass to the standard level, which can last up to a maximum 5 years. The pitch is still going to be worked on when the Women AFCON starts, and according to authorities, it is the best way to maintain it. Other improvements seen at the venue were the replacement of the new LED floodlights and the scoreboard, as they were at the finishing point. In addition, the discolored chairs are being sprayed, whilst those broken are yet to replace. Aside the Accra Sports Stadium, the Elwak Stadium, the Kepco Stadium, and the Presec pitch are expected to be used for the tournament. LOC chairperson Frida Prempe is happy for work done so far.
When we took over as the LOC, Accra Sports Stadium was not in this state. We've had to work together with the contractor to bring it to this level. So far, so good. We are hoping that the contractor will hand over the Accra Sports Stadium to us. We want to test the equipment. We want to take all the technical things that they're going to use. Since we'll be able to cross the 80% hurdle, I am optimistic that we'll be able to have everything done. I'm very sure, and I can assure Ghanaians that the only thing that we need from them is their support.
Let's do some boxing news now. And the Ghana Boxing Authority has promised to arrest and sanction those involved in Saturday, October 13 rioting at the Bukom Boxing Arena. President of the authority, Peter Zwen, has described the occurrence as dangerous to the growth of boxing in the country.
A World Boxing Organization WBO Africa Super Bantamweight Championship between Isaac Saki and Wesiwu Mohammed on Saturday, October 13 turned violent following a third-round call by Beninois referee Adon Berti. 1 week after the incident, very little has been heard from the authorities regarding the confusion. But GBA President Peter Zwene says steps are being taken to identify culprits to be sanctioned.
The police have been furnished with video footage of the occurrences here, and we are tasking them to identify possibly the individuals involved. On our part, we shall initiate disciplinary proceedings against our licensees.
He described the incident as unfortunate and preferred measures to forestall reoccurrence.
We had meetings with the management of this facility. Among the measures we are taking is to beef up security. So as you can see, now you have the military police here for today's event.
The WBO supervisor and president for Africa, Samir Kaptan, was equally disappointed over the turn of events. He said the referee is the final arbiter of the game, and whether his decision is right or wrong does not warrant any attack from anyone.
The whole trouble came from Isaac Saki's corner. You know, being an international coach, you know the rules. You don't have to attack a referee in the ring. You wait. Then you bring the complaint to the supervisor of the fight that night.
Samir Kaptan apologized to all patrons of the game who may be affected one way or the other and warned hooligans.
The English Premier League returns this weekend after the international break. Let's go through the fixtures for you for games to expect. And it begins with a big clash. Chelsea up against Manchester United. Bournemouth will be up against Southampton. Cardiff City will welcome Fulham. Manchester City will be at home and they'll take on Burnley. Newcastle will be up against Brighton and Hove Albion. There are a lot more games to expect on match day 9. And then you can see on your screens, West Ham will be up against Tottenham Hotspurs. Wolves will take on Watford. Huddersfield will welcome Liverpool on Sunday. There's Everton versus Crystal Palace on Monday night. Arsenal will be up against Leicester City. And that's all the sports here on News 360. My name is Anako Jafre. Thanks very much for watching. Always a pleasure serving you. Good evening.